Pingboard is an employee experience platform that drives engagement for distributed teams. And here I have Vishal Sunak, who's the CEO and founder of LinkSquares, which is a AI-powered contract management platform.
It's a mouthful.
For legal teams.
That's right.
Are you enjoying Austin?
I love it. I love it. It's my second time here this year. I love this place. Yeah, spoke at South by Southwest too.
Yep, awesome. This is my hometown, so I had the short commute. So look, let's cut right to it. We're both really passionate about diversity and inclusion in the workplace. So we're going to dig into, not only for larger companies, but for smaller companies, how you can build an unstoppable company culture by integrating connection and diversity within your workforce. So Vishal, let's start with you. As a business leader, as a CEO and founder, why should you care about diversity in building a great culture?
So many different ways, and statistically, companies that are more diverse just do better. And shouldn't you just want to do it because that's a great reason? I'm a minority. Hey, maybe you are too. And I've always kind of looked at the world differently anyways. And then having the journey to become a founder and run a big company now, which LinkSquares is, it's so important that we see a reflection in ourselves and who works at the company too. Right? Can't be all the same people because it'll never work, right? And there's things we'll talk about today about how you build big company. You really need it. You have to have it.
Yep. You don't want groupthink. You want diversity in thought as well as people, right? So how do you promote and scale a culture of diversity? And we have two different sort of experiences, from a 400-person company that you're running to a 40-person company at Pingboard.
Well, the promotion of it has to be real authentic. And you can't force people to do things they don't want, but you certainly can encourage them and give them the opportunity to band together. Right? And one of the things that we just did was we learned about bias during hiring. And that's when we were smaller, much smaller. And we brought in an outside consultant. We learned about bias and diversity in hiring practices to remove unconscious bias from when you make decisions. And it starts there, and then it builds. And at scale, what it happens is it happens organically, which is such a joy. These little Slack channels just started getting created inside of our company.
Yep.
Soccer fans and LGBTQ plus community, and even our employees that live in Texas and other places. It just kind of happens, and like-minded folks, they find each other, which is so beautiful.
But what are some techniques you use as a CEO to encourage that, right, and make it something that's not only welcomed within an org around the Slack channels and the networking, but actually sort of encouraged and pushed?
Definitely doing the HR stuff that just you need to do at scale. You have to have a formal thing going with it. Like, we have a diversity committee with an executive sponsor. You need that. That executive sponsor is our CMO, Juliet. She's wonderful. Also, a person of color and a wonderful female amazing SaaS operator. So it makes sense, it's executive buy-in, it's people across the company join it. There's something formal that then creates something informal that happens on Slack and different people finding each other. But you kind of need both.
Right.
And not force the kind of everyone who likes each other hang out and talk about the same stuff.
Yeah.
That'll just happen naturally, but it starts with a good foundation saying, we're dedicating time to this. Executive team dedicating time to this.
I was about to say, at Pingboard, we make it, the first thing we talk about in our monthly all-hands meetings is our diversity and inclusion activities. We call it the culture committee, right? We have a different theme each month. We talk about different interests. We talk about different activities we're doing.
Yeah.
And the head of people ops that runs it, reports to me, and the first thing we talk about in our weekly one-on-one are those programs. It has to start at the top. Yeah. It sounds cliche, but it's true.
It's that culture. And speaking of culture and the company and the values, how do you shape and define company values? Because I think they play such an integrated part of also DE&I and initiatives like that. What are you doing, and how do you think about it?
Yeah, we spent a lot of time over the last few months, talking about our values at Pingboard. I see some of my team members out in the audience, and I think so often, especially with SaaS companies and tech companies, you go to their About Us page, you go to their mission, vision, values, and it's like a chat bot, or I guess now a chat GTP bot wrote them. They're all the same. We strive for success. We're open. We have an open door policy. Blah blah. They're all the same, right? We view values as that they have to be differentiated for your company, and they have to give you a differentiated advantage over your competition, right? What does that mean? Well, at Pingboard, we're all about inclusion and transparency and engagement for our workforce. We're an engagement platform. That's a competitive advantage we have. So everything we do is around transparency and engagement. But that's unique to us, right? So you have to find values that are unique to you as a company and that reflect how you operate.
Absolutely. We have 4. Can't have too many values. Can't have 23 of them. People can't remember that. We have 4. Every single all hands, same thing. We start with the values. We remind the people. Got hiring a lot of new people all the time. You hear it 12 times a year come out of my mouth. Hopefully 100 times a year. Also in other ways, I can say the same things.
Right.
We have one that we made that is not as kind of cookie cutter as what you see across others, which is being all in.
Yep.
And that just kind of came about. Like we just decided that we're just people who want like to ride rockets for fun, like recreationally, and like in doing a startup journey is like that. And it was like, well, you're either on the rocket or you're not.
But how do you test for that when you interview? It's really, everyone seems enthusiastic in an interview. How do you test for that when you're actually recruiting?
Yes, through those great behavioral type of interview questions, you can really understand who someone is. Have they faced adversity? Were you a college athlete? Like being a college athlete is real hard. If you were a D1 college athlete, whew, I mean, that is the hardest discipline there is. The sacrifice you have to do. I mean, you are all in. You want to play softball at UAT, you know, hook 'em. And if you want to do that, like, there takes a certain amount of person that wakes up every day, no matter what, good day, bad day. Those are the types of people that have those stories, or they used to be an entrepreneur. They started a company, it failed, but they wouldn't give up, or they ran out of money, but they gave it a rip at this really, really hard thing.
Yeah.
And you test for that, like, God, someone like this, or the military veterans. We have a bunch of veterans that work for us. Talk about people being all in. It's like, whew, you find these people, right? And we test for it all the time.
Yeah, you got to interview and test for your values. Like, it's about your experience and what have you accomplished as a sales rep or as a marketer. But those behavioral questions, I think, are more important.
Can you measure it? Can you measure the impact of DEI somehow, some way?
We measure it in a couple ways. You know, we're firm believers in surveying your employee base constantly. Shameless plug for Pingboard. We have a survey platform, but you have to ask your employees, right? We do twice-a-year engagement surveys. We do monthly pulse surveys, right? We do ENPS. You have to listen to your employees. Ask them what's working and what's not. Did you like that activity? How do you feel about our Slack channels? How do you feel about diversity and inclusion at work? Ask them. But the key is you have to listen, and you have to address every single response in an all hands, right? People will not give you an honest answer in a survey if you don't acknowledge it and actually take action when something's going on. So measure, measure, measure.
There's nothing casual about doing DEI well. It is very structured. You got to put the time in. And a lot of the great SaaS companies in the world think about all hands as like the executive team's review of the business for the employees, not the kind of the other way around. It's like, here's our chance to tell you what we're doing to make your experience a lot better, and some, you know, financial results and SaaS metrics and up into the right bar charts and whatever. Like,
all hands are, when I'm a first-time CEO, and I didn't realize how important. Oh yeah, you are too. Sorry. I didn't realize how important all hands are. Like they really are. And to your point, it's not about, you start out with the people, you start out with the surveys, what's working, what's not as an org, who are we hiring? And then you segue into, you know, your business metrics and how you're doing as a business, because you want to be transparent. We're incredibly transparent. I had someone ask, how much money is in our bank account? I'm like, enough to pay your paycheck, but I actually pulled up our Chase account, you know, on my second screen and read out the number, how much money's in our account. Like, you got to be transparent. But people appreciate that. But to your point, it's about your employees first and the business second.
No, for sure. We do the twice a year surveying, and what's really cool is when you commit to doing it, you start learning, are you getting better or worse? Is departments specifically conditions in departments getting better or worse? Last 2 years, no surprise, last 3 years, it's been wild to watch companies and how they've had to react to everything going on around it. It's really important you take a pulse check, even if you're small. Like, who's got like a small company, like under 50, maybe in the crowd here? You can do it in real time because it's so much easier, but you build the culture of doing it formally, anonymously. And the other thing I do is ask me anything. and I get
We
these
do that too.
anonymous questions
Yep.
that, some of them we can't share everything like that in going on in the entire universe, but it's a great way to get into the mind of what people are thinking every day.
And
How
you got,
powerful.
Again, you got to answer those Ask Me Anythings regardless of what they are. We have everything from what's the financial state of the business and what are we doing to, I don't like the snack boxes. Like Christy's laughing at me here. She's on my team. We send out a monthly snack box because we're remote. Like we use these companies in the snack boxes. And
Sure.
someone said, we're sick of the snack boxes. We get the same snacks in the snack boxes. Can we change the snack box?
The raisins are always dry. Why are you torturing me?
The red CEO part of me is like, I really don't care about the snack boxes. I got bigger fish to fry as CEO. But then it's like, well, actually, that's important.
Yeah.
So we're spending money on these snack boxes. It's like $40 a person a month. So I'm like, we hear you loud and clear. We're going to change the snack boxes, and we're going to alternate the snack boxes every month from different snack box providers. And guess what? People loved it, and they appreciated it.
You know,
Yeah,
like
but
I tell people this all the time. You want to figure out what best software to build? Ask people who are going to buy it. Then why wouldn't you ask your employees that you're now you're serving them as like your employer?
Right.
Like I'm the employer now. And if I don't ask you how your experience is going, like my customers who use our software won't stick around if they're not getting what they want out of the experience. Same with employees, like you owe it to yourself. How much effort you put into building software correctly, ICP and all the stuff that people teach you about, discovery, and you got to do the same thing with your employee base.
It is, and like as there's so many startups here, I think the number one factor in whether or not your startup is going to be successful, to me, it's not your product, it's not your technology, it's not your go-to-market, it is who you hire and who you put into those seats.
Yeah, for
Period.
sure.
End of story. I've been involved in startups that had market value, traction, and we just had the wrong people, and the company just cratered. So
for sure. I often say, as CEO, I got to run 4 companies at the same time. A company full of people is the first. A best place to work, a great culture, defined pay, how you get promoted, all that stuff. And then the rest of it is like important, but it's financial metrics and the brand, right? And then the asset, right? We're owners in an asset, just like our investors are. But running that people company cannot be done recreationally either.
Let me ask you a question. Do you have a people ops team? What is your HR department structure like real quick? At a 400-person company.
Expert VP of people, Nikki, she's amazing. Works for my chief legal officer, Tim. They work together at DraftKings. Both spend time there. And then we have the employee side, right? Then we have the benefits side, and we have the engagement side. We have the people that just do programming.
So you have a team that's laser focused on employee engagement.
Laser focused. Our office team, so we do a hybrid thing at LinkSquares.
Yeah.
Our office team is so much a part of the culture creation and the diversity just by saying, hey, we're going to support LGBTQ-owned businesses this month, and here's 5 links of stuff you can buy for Mother's Day. And even little stuff like that is so empowering and impactful for the whole community to know, we're trying to get better every day, trying to do a little bit more every day.
And it's tough. It is we're a 40-person company. We have a 1-person, basically people ops HR team. But if you're a small company, this is the shameless plug for Pingboard. There are ways to drive engagement without. No, but a larger company might have 2 or 3 people just focused on the employee experience.
Yep.
But if you're a 10, 20, 30, 50-person company, you can't afford that. So you have to look at creative ways to connect your employees with software, with activities, especially in the remote hybrid workforce. If you're a startup, you're probably who has an office that's under 100 people? Does anybody have an office? Okay, a couple. We got rid of ours personally, but you're not gonna have an office. There's no coffee break talk. What did you call it in the
intellectual collisions. I like that. It's a scientific way of thinking about running into someone and having a chat about
it's all those great ideas that happen just out of nowhere, and you're walking down the hallway and you notice a problem and you jump into a conference room and you solve it. We don't have that these days for the most part. So you have to come up with creative ways to build and foster those connections, and it's really hard.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just this whole stuff investing in employees and diversity, it's this is a mirror that people will see themselves in or not. And if they don't see themselves in a company they can be a part of, we hired 280 people in 1 year. It was really crazy. And that's after we raised a big round of venture capital financing and really started to put gasoline on this whole go-to-market thing. And 280 people are going to make this decision, like, is it a good place to work? Well, what does the internet think? And what do the anonymous places think? And do I want to be associated with these people? Are they fun? Like, will I get along with them? Hey, I'm weird. Hey, I'm weird too. Like, you can be weird here with us in Austin and then Boston, I guess.
Yeah, 100%. So what's changed for you kind of pre-COVID and post-COVID as far as your remote and remote hybrid? Right, we guys are 100% on site, and then
we loved a good in-office experience, and then in 2020, by April, it's like trying to figure out how to live on Slack and Zoom, and it was real hard, and we had to learn real quick. And the thing was, it was like we didn't even know how to contact the engineering team if the app had an issue. Like we had to make a 911 channel in Slack, and we had never contemplated a day that an engineer wouldn't be like 20 feet walking distance from me. I would run over and be like, yo, the app, take a look. I don't know, it's weird. And you have to figure out how to replace all these things.
Yeah.
And then in like end of 2020, a lot of the younger folks on our team live in very tight spaces. They're like, listen, I don't know, I'll sign a waiver every day, but I need to go to an office. Like, I have to work in a place like, I live in 600 square feet with another dude. Like, I can't, he also works in sales and is loud too. It's like we're gonna kill each other.
Yep.
Like, and I'm like, all right, cool, no, we'll figure it out. But you gotta sign a waiver every day. That's what the legal team says.
Yeah.
They're like, fine. They all sign the waiver every day. They're all getting together in each other's apartments anyways, trying to learn. They all live in one neighborhood in Boston, South Boston. So it's like stuff like that. You don't know what's gonna happen. You just kind of figure it out.
Yeah, it's definitely challenging. We're 100% remote at Pingboard, and you have to come up with new techniques. It's hard. You have to push for connections. You got to over-index on setting up meetings. It stinks to set up formal meetings all the time, but like you need some way to have that intellectual collision, right, and to talk.
Now we have 100 employees in 22 states, mostly engineering, and then we have 250 or like 300 employees in the Boston area. So then it's like, how do we bridge the folks that live in 20 different states? Well, we try to get them into the office 3 times a year for like the big blockbuster kickoff in January and the summer party in July and December for like a holiday type thing, and just try to do that. And then some of them come even more frequently, but it's like, can't forget about them. They're there too. They're part of the company as much as anyone else.
We're down to 20 seconds. We're going to get played off like at the Oscars. Anything else you want to add?
You want to go for another hour?
Again, we're standing in the way of happy hour, so I'd rather not do that.
No chance.
We're in Austin, so.
No chance.
Do we have time for questions? Yay or nay? Are there any questions anyone wants to throw out?
We'll do it live. I don't know. Whatever. No? We're getting the thumbs down, which is the old Vaudevillian hook. So.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Appreciate your time and attention. And have a great SaaStock.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having us. Thank you.